Yes, Wolfgang.
I'm wondering about that saying that the student must overcome the realization of the master.
Yes.
And this is contradictory in a sense to me, because it would mean realization is stepwise, but it cannot be stepwise.
That's precisely what the statement is saying, Wolfgang. Don't you see?
So
if you're still at the point where you're measuring your awakening, even in relation to your teachers, perhaps as Werner was just, it won't do. It won't do.
So the translation in my words would be follow the teacher, then kick it away, all the teaching, and have your own realization, independent of the teacher. And don't be only done by myself or by everyone.
Yeah, you can't be, frankly, it's often spoken of in Japanese Zen. Everyone is under the umbrella, the Japanese kind of a parasol, umbrella, of the master. This is a very corrupt Zen. You see? It's a kind of a foundation or a covering that the master has made, and then everyone comes and hides under it, is protected by it. There's something there, we might say on the worldly level, there's something to that. The master, the guide, caring for his disciples. Yes, but if it stays at that level, you see, it's defiled. That, Bernhard, would be a good example of what does defilement mean. That's defiled. You follow? There is a point where you have to come out from under the umbrella. Maybe get soaking wet. So yes, your version is a good one. You must be devoted to the guide, the teacher, but not blindly. Not blindly. This is not a cult. This is not seeking some kind of an absolute, unquestioned master. No, I won't let you do that. You see why? Maybe for a while you need guidance. I sure did. I was very fortunate to find it. But if it's a true guide, it's a guide who can see clearly enough that there's a time when you must be let go so that you can fully be what you are. I don't want you under my umbrella. You understand? Once again, the statement is more or less, it's almost Chinese humor, because it's saying a disciple who equals his master's realization. Oh my goodness, in Japan they wouldn't talk that way usually, right? You've been in Japan, you know this kind of humility, perhaps half false humility. Exactly. You see? There are statements in Zen, for example, although we are only ignorant beginners, we are grateful to be at the feet of the master. But this is just a set statement that you say, you follow? So it can be a false humility. It can be a false humility. But see, this early Chinese Zen statement is saying, when you get to the point where you are equal to your master, you've cut it in half. What? You see, it's completely illogical, isn't it? When you get to the point of your master, well, look at the early sutras. What did they say to Gautama Buddha before he was awake? You can now teach the congregation as I did. That's why he left them. Do you remember? This is not just Zen. Look at the early Pali Suttas. And they are stating in the Gautama Buddha's own quest. He studied with a couple of teachers, Alara Kalama, and he got to the point where he was equal to the master. Exactly. You know the story, right? And then the master said to Gautama, you can now teach the congregation as I teach it. We are now equals. And what did Gautama Buddha say? He wasn't yet the Buddha. He wasn't awakening. He was still on his way. He said, but this does not lead to full and final emancipation. It does not lead to the end of suffering. What you have taught only leads to, actually these are the third and the fourth formless jhanas, what is called the state of nothingness, or the state of neither perception nor non-perception. But they do not lead to actual awakening. So he left them. You follow? So, as radical as these Zen statements found, if you have the eye, the nub, the essential point is already there in early Buddhism. A realization that equals the masters cuts it in half. Only going beyond that realization is, again, literally worthy of receiving the lineage, of continuing this lineage. You understand? How would you say it again, Wolfgang?
Yeah, I said, you have to follow him a while, and then kick all away and stand up by yourself.
Okay. Please do that.
It's a political statement. It's, by the way, a political statement.
It's almost time, so do we have time for one last question, Bernard? If there is one.
How know when time is to leave the master? How know it?
I don't know.
Or what time? I think it's very comfortable to be under the umbrella, to leave there.
Yes. And you see the danger, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as you see the danger, you'll know. You'll know. Sometimes the master kicks the disciple out. But it's best if the disciple himself can see. Thank you.
I want to stay on.
I'll give you 1.5 more days. Thank you all for your comments and questions. They're helpful for everyone, I trust. Thank you all.